Skateboarding, I guess, a little different than BMX, but like skateboarding, it's like you got to put your feet in a certain way, and you got to flick your feet a certain way to get it. There's a lot of good documentaries of Rodney Mullen, and he talks a lot about like the science behind how he learns all his tricks, and a lot of it's just trial and error. Put your foot here, move your foot back a little bit, and then once you get it, it's just repeat, like rinse and repeat. And then after that, it's all muscle memory. Like once you learn to do it, if you do it enough times, it's just muscle memory.
It's Johnny Late Night! And now here's your host, Johnny Rogers! Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 56 of the Johnny Rogers Show. My guest is a friend who I haven't had a chance to catch up with in a long time. Residing in Kingston, Ontario, he's an avid BMX rider, musician, and older brother of my best friend Phatriik, who is also a former guest of the show. On today's episode, we explore the importance of repetition, our love for writing music, the power of dissing Eminem, why you should always try to be better, and a whole lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, give it up for my friend and yours, Jerry Perrin. This is always the funniest part of the podcast, now that I've started going live on Twitch, is the first, like, however long at the beginning of the podcast that I cut out before YouTube. It's just me going, are we live? Is this live? Is this happening?
Well, you got to make sure. The worst thing is you do the whole fucking thing and then you find out you didn't record it.
Yeah. Dude, that happens so much when I first started recording podcasts. Two, three really great conversations that the cameras just shut off halfway through, and I was like,
oh, that's horrible.
I can't believe I missed all of that. It's such a sinking feeling. It's the same thing as like accidentally like deleting an important file, and you're just like,
yeah.
Now
I think we've all done that.
Trying to be a hacker. You're trying to be like, what's the best way to recover deleted files?
Oh, dude, I've done that so many times. I went into like the app store before and like downloaded these like bullshit apps to try and find out how to like recover like deleted media files, and nothing works.
You're like, God damn it.
Yeah. And now you got all these apps on your phone.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the one thing I'll credit technology. I mean, there's lots obviously to credit technology with, but especially with Google, at least, it like saves stuff constantly. So it would be very difficult for you to just like lose a file or like accidentally delete a file. I don't know. Let me share this on Facebook. See, eventually I'll have a producer who will just be doing all this stuff as we continue a regular conversation, but for now it's me being like, the Johnny Rogers Show live.
Where are you? You got your own little office there? Or?
Yeah, so I moved into a place with like 2 beds so that I could just like have one set as an office, because both my girlfriend and I work from home, so it just made the most sense.
Yeah, that's sick.
And then I just converted it basically into like a studio, because I've been wanting to do a podcast forever, and I was always like helping people with their podcasts or like just doing a lot of podcasts, and I kept being like, man, I need my own show. And then finally everything just aligned where I was like able to actually do it and keep it up.
Perfect. Yeah, I heard you moved up to Ottawa.
Yeah, which
like it?
Not really.
No.
If I'm being honest, the more time I spend here, it's not that it's a bad place. It's just that like I don't think it's for me per se. Like you really need a car to do pretty much anything.
Yeah. I was gonna say Ottawa's pretty spread out, right?
So. Yeah, right. So like even the immediate area, like the first little while that we're here, it's like, oh, this is nice, and then after, you know, you walk that same area 30-40 times, you're kind of like, man, fuck this place.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. You
just get all caught up in that. I'm thinking Montreal next, honestly, because
Montreal. I just got back from Montreal.
Yeah, how was that? You're into I'll do a little intro at the beginning of this, but for people who are watching at this part just on the Twitch live stream, Jerry, you're really into BMXing. So you went there for like a BMX meetup, or?
We just went there. We got a bunch of buddies from Toronto that they go out to Montreal for a week every year, and they hit us up and asked us if we wanted to go out for the weekend. So me and a couple boys from Kingston went up and spent a few days riding around Montreal. It was pretty dope. It's the first time I've ever been there. So
that's sick. So were you hitting up like parks, or were you looking at more like urban environment stuff?
We were riding mostly street. We hit up the I think it's called Olympic or Olympia. I can't remember what it's called. I don't want to butcher it, but Olympic Park or something like that. It's a skate park that they built there, I think, last year. and it was pretty dope. But other than that, we were just riding around the street and whatnot with a bunch of guys. There's probably like 15, 16 of us that got together.
When you're
So, yeah.
traveling in like big groups like that, are you getting harassed often by
No,
like?
not really. No, I find you get harassed less
Ah,
because
okay, that makes
people
sense.
people don't want to come up to you when you got 15 people with you, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was there
but
a
no,
bit
it's
of
pretty
time
cool.
where you were just like kind of riding solo and you had somebody just being like, because I remember
Oh
playing
yeah,
like
dude.
those skate games and they always incorporated that. Like you'd be skateboarding in a mall and like the security's running over at you.
Yeah, there's quite a few times, man, when you're riding with just a couple buddies. Even here at Queen's University, you'd be riding down and they'll see you riding and they'll come over and harass you a little bit. They're not too bad, but they usually just ask you to leave. And if you get the nice security guard, he'll give you a few more tries at whatever you're trying to do. But for the most, I haven't got any tickets, thank God. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyways,
nice. Yeah, yeah. I didn't
that's
even
good.
think that like there tickets specifically for
Uh,
like
there
stunting.
is. I don't know what they would give you a ticket
Yeah,
for. Maybe like
like public
if
nuisance.
you're waxing up a curb or something, they might give you like a I don't know destruction of property or
Yeah, yeah,
some
like
shit like that. But
defacing city property or whatever.
for the most part, they got better shit to do, right? So they just tell you to move along and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
But if you're in like a quieter town, maybe they don't have better shit to do. Like this might
yeah,
be the most
exactly.
exciting part of their day. Like, woo, I
Yeah,
hope we get to slam some white boys on some cars and throw their
yeah,
bikes
for
in the
sure, for
trunk
sure,
and
for sure. Yeah, I got a buddy actually. He's not supposed to be down at Queens. He got in shit a long time ago with a security guard, and we were there a couple years ago, and he was waxing up a curb. And a security guard came over and he was like, Mr. So and so. I don't want to put the guy on blast, but he's like, Mr. So and so. And buddy just turns around. He's like, ah, shit. And he threw the wax back in his bag and he's like, all right, I'm out. I'm out. And then we just bounced. Yeah, that's pretty good.
damn, I remember like on my old podcast I had called Pod Jobs, I interviewed this guy named Blaze, and he was like just a graffiti artist, but like really talented artist, and I believe he does like tattoo work now. And I think it was him that was telling me he was just getting ready to like do this whole piece, and he had like a cart basically of like all the paint that he was gonna do
Right.
that he had with him. And as soon as he opened it, he turned around. There was a cop like right behind him.
Oh, shit. Just watching it.
And it was like pretty clear that this wasn't like a city works project where they had
Yeah,
hired him
yeah,
to,
yeah.
or else he would have had other people with him. They
Yeah.
wouldn't have sent him
I've
by
seen
himself to work.
I've seen some BMX videos where guys will go out and the guy filming or whatever, he'll put on like a vest or whatever and a hard hat just to make it look like he's a city worker. So if the cops or security ever do come, they just like act like they're trying to work on the spot or some kind of thing to get away with
Yeah.
it. So yeah.
Yeah, one thing I love too about like everyone exploring kind of their own interests even more is now you have this new element of like the expanse of the internet where if you because I love watching like skateboarding tricks and like BMX tricks as well too. So my Instagram feed, my TikTok feed is just filled with that. But one thing I really notice is there's people like walking you through in like slow-mo how to do each individual move, which I think
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
that's like unprecedented. If you wanted to learn like how to do a kickflip, you had to like
A
find
lot of it's
someone who
like,
knew how to do that, you know?
yeah, I don't want to get like nerdy with it, but a lot of it's like
Oh, get nerdy
kind of
with it,
like
dude.
it's kind of like science, dude. It's like skateboarding, I guess, a little different than BMX, but like skateboarding, it's like you got to put your feet in a certain way, and you got to flick your feet a certain way to get it. There's a lot of good documentaries of Rodney Mullen, and he talks a lot about like the science behind how he learns all his tricks, and a lot of it's just trial and error. Put your foot here, move your foot back a little bit, and then once you get it, it's just repeat, like rinse and repeat.
Mm.
And then after that, it's all muscle memory. Like once you learn to do it, if you do it enough times, it's just muscle memory.
That's so fascinating too, and it's interesting that like there can be these core principles of let's say like how to do an ollie, but from that people within like their own comfortability of like doing that trick like started creating, variations, like trying to like okay, well what if I kick my foot this way? But
Yeah,
you
exactly.
would
Yeah.
only risk doing that unless you were super confident in like the first half of it.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of it's like you learn a kickflip, and then after you learn the kickflip, it's like now if I want to do like a 360 flip, it's like now I got to put my foot a little bit closer to the edge of the board, kind of thing. A lot of it's just trial and error, man. And once you get it, it's just like I said, muscle memory. You just keep doing it over and over and over and over again.
The only
They
thing
say
that
what's that? The
sucks
definition of
is like
crazy is trying the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah,
But like
yeah, yeah.
like BMX and like skateboarding, it's all the same thing. That's what you're doing. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result until you get that different result.
Yeah, that's true. Or until you get the result that you intend on, even too.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
then
just attempt.
you still just keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah. But it's a different ballpark for like errors. Like if I try a new style of joke and it doesn't land on stage, like that kind of it's a shitty feeling. Like there's no
Yeah,
laugh
yeah,
or it
yeah.
doesn't work. But like if you make an error in skateboarding or in BMXing, like you're gonna fuck yourself up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a lot of like learning on the little stuff first and then
Yeah.
kind of taking it to the big stuff. But I mean, even learning on the little stuff, yeah, it's scary, man. But I think I think I think I'd rather eat shit on a rail than choke on a joke on stage, man.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how you do the stand up shit. I've always wanted to get into stand up. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd ever be good at it, but I don't know if I'd be able to handle just telling a joke and like
You just
a
have to
hundred
act
people
like
just
none of it
a
affects
hundred
you.
people just silent staring at you, and you're just like nobody thought that was
You know
funny.
what's worse than silence? Because I've become like okay with silence. I don't panic and try to fill it that much anymore. I can kind of sit in it and just tell myself like this is fine. Like it's actually okay to sit in the silence. What I hate the most is when you're getting like
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Because
like
that's when you know like
only
the joke
pity
was
laughs. You're like,
exactly.
oh,
You know the joke was so bad that they knew it was bad, but they're like,
they feel
I'll give them a
bad for
little bit of like,
you.
oh,
Like,
yeah, I
don't
don't
feel
want to
bad
embarrass
for
the
me.
guy, so but they don't understand they're probably embarrassing you more by giving that little giggle.
Yeah. If it's
Yeah,
not funny, just stay silent.
yeah,
Just
just shut up. Let me go to
just
the next
shut
joke.
up. I would always try to do that. Like I remember early on when I started doing open mics, I caught myself like doing this fake laugh. And one time I was like, I did it and I was like, why did I laugh at that? Like that, if I wrote that down, that was not funny at all. And it didn't even get a laugh in the room. And I was like, oh, I'm just doing it to like be supportive. Like I'm just trying to like
Yeah, yeah.
vent. But I'm like, that's not helping either. Because if you
No,
like tell
exactly.
someone,
Yeah.
it's the same thing we're talking about, like why each individual artist has to kind of drown out what people are saying and focus on their own results. Because like you could think you had the worst set ever, and someone could come up to you and be like, it was amazing, don't change
Yeah, yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
like, well, I
exactly.
don't
Yeah.
think that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like I found like any artist, you got to push through that. You got to push through a wall where it's like you get everybody telling you like, don't like that's not good. Don't do
Mm.
this. You know what I mean? You're not good at this. But it's like the next person could think you're amazing. Where it's like you got it's like you got this wall that you just got to push through. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
mean
no.
if you try and push through that wall for 5 years and you haven't got through that wall, then maybe everybody's right. Maybe you're not funny.
Yeah,
But
you do have to be honest with yourself at the same
exactly,
time. You're like,
exactly.
is this
There
realistic?
has to come a point where it's like, is this worth it?
Yeah, yeah. Good. Well, the best way to do that is like set your own goals, and you're like, if you're hitting your own goals, at least in like your purpose for doing
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Because what people often do is like, they'll, especially when it comes to like art, is they'll compare it to whatever the highest point of that is. So for example, like comedy, if you're not like, there's so many big successful comedians selling out arenas and whatever, and if you're not doing that, then you are not successful. Well, somebody
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
in comedy might not be in comedy to make it their livelihood or their career. They might be
No,
in it
exactly.
just because they
It could,
like doing it.
yeah, it could be a hobby. It could be something
Yeah.
that you just enjoy doing on the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just do little clubs here and there.
And I think that's important though. We need to like make it a hobby again.
It is, man. I
And
mean, if it's something you enjoy doing, then it
yeah.
shouldn't be looked down upon. If like, because I find a lot of stuff like music is the same way. I get a lot of time in music and shit when people are like, "Why do you keep doing music? Like, why are you still doing this?" And I'm just like, "Because I like doing it, man. It's
Yeah,
fun."
yeah, yeah.
Like I've told a lot of my good homies that like if there was no money involved in music, no nothing, I'd still do it, man. Like it's
If you
fun. You know what
still
I
had the
mean?
resources to do it, yeah, do
That's what
it.
I mean. It's just fun. I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
I don't need
I
to
want
make
to like,
$1 million.
yeah, and I want to credit
It'd be
you
nice,
with
but
that too. Like, because I always like pointing out to people the real, like, kind of underlying reason that I'm doing my own podcast is so that people who do enjoy whatever it is that I put out, comedy, music, or, news updates, whatever it is, that they just know me a little more. That's kind of what the podcast is for.
yeah,
But
of
like,
course.
you were one of my early inspirations into like, the fact that someone could just do that, could just be like, I'm a rapper.
No, I
And
appreciate
then
that, man. I appreciate that.
and then do it, you know what I mean, and like make good music, like. And I was like, damn, because when I thought of like peak performers in art, comedy, I thought Robin Williams. So I thought, okay, in
Yeah,
order to
yeah,
make it to that level, you got to be in movies, and then you'll play theaters. It felt so far away.
yeah, yeah.
Rapping, I think, like, the biggest people at that time, and it seems magical. It feels like
It
it's not
seems out of
something that,
reach.
yeah, right. It feels like these people were chosen, selected by like
Exactly.
people that
Yeah.
you don't even have connections to. And then you see someone like yourself who's just like, I love it. I've studied it. I'm just gonna do it. With like, and at that time, it's not like we had great resources for me
No,
to
no.
create this. I did
Yeah,
this
I saw
fucking
that. Yeah, I saw
in
that
like
back there when we first
two
started talking. Yeah.
years. In 2 years, I did that. Like that, I could have never done that before in like the early 2000s. That wouldn't have been
No, yeah.
possible. But like I could
No.
now with the internet find like producers that I really like, and find beats that I could just buy that I
Yeah,
really
there's
like.
there's a lot of like real dope producers out there that a lot of them too that don't get credit that they deserve, I find.
Yeah,
That
there's some
like that are
amazing,
willing to work
amazing.
with underground artists that don't have much of a name or nothing. You know what I mean? Like they're willing to work with you and
And
like
they reach
they'll
out, which is even
yeah, exactly.
cooler.
They're willing to help, they're willing to give you avenues, they're willing to like give you other connections and whatnot. And it's like you said, like everything seems so far to reach when you first start doing it. It's like, yo, I feel like I need to be Drake or I need to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Eminem or I need to be up on this level. But then like eventually in my own head, I was like, I don't need to be on that level. It's like, I don't care. Like I said, it'd be nice to make a living off of making music and shit. But it's like, I don't care if I don't make a living off of it. I'll go to work every day and work a regular 9 to 5 job and then come home and make music because I love doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's no
mean?
different than somebody coming home and being like, I want to watch 6 hours of television. You're like,
Yeah,
you're just your like cool down activity, or your thing that like just gets you motivated and excited, just happens to be something that's music. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's
exactly,
working
exactly, man,
towards that.
exactly. It's
And
the
it's
same as
so
coming home and like
therapeutic.
some people come home and they'll color or
Yeah.
they'll like they'll write or they'll read a book or some shit. It's like I don't know. I like to come home and write some music, record some music, do
What
whatever,
was
man.
that
It's like
first time like when you were like, I'm gonna do this, and you started writing, you started like listening to a beat and started like writing? Did you start with words first? Were kind of like
uh,
hooks coming to
the
mind?
funny thing when I first started writing music, I was writing like pop punk music. It
Nice.
was
Okay.
like grade 9. I was listening to a lot of like Newfound Glory and like those fucking pop punk bands that were popular at the time. And I just randomly started writing like pop punk music. And then I got introduced to I think it was my cousin introduced me to Rage Against the Machine. And when I heard the song Pistol Grip Pump, which to this day is still one of my favorite songs ever, I heard that song and I was like, yo, these guys are like punk, rock, rap at the same time. And I was like, yo, I wonder if I could like write rap music. So I started writing rap music. And then my buddy brought home the Slim Shady LP when it first dropped. And I was like blown away by it. And I was like, yo, this shit's fucked up. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I just got super into rap and started writing rap lyrics. And it probably wasn't until I'm gonna say 5 years after I was writing that I started recording. Like I already knew how to like flow to a beat really good and everything before I even like touched the microphone. So it's
Wow.
like when I first started recording, I had buddies being like, yo, you know how to flow to a beat? And I was like, I guess so. It's like I had that like I had written for so many years. But yeah, the first time it was just and it was horrible, dude. It was terrible. Like the
Oh
lyrics were
yeah,
so like
it's never
so
good.
Dr.
Yeah.
Seuss. It was so bad, man. But I
Yeah.
could flow to a beat. So
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
there on, I just kept getting like learning how to write multis, and it slowly started coming. And then I got like a old
Explain multis for people who don't know what a multi is.
like rapping like I don't know, like the word airplane. It's got like two multis in it, like 2 syllables.
Yeah.
So like rhyme airplane, you're gonna rhyme air and plane.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
just gonna you're
Exactly. So you
so yeah,
break
so
that
you're just
down
gonna
and rhyme
so you're just gonna keep
more
rhyming.
syllables
Yeah, so the more syllables that are in the word, you're trying to break down the word and
instead
then
of
rhyme
just
each
rhyming
syllable.
the last word.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna rhyme like the word before it, kind of thing, and whatnot. And it just sounds better.
Yeah, no, totally. Which I love like trying to find the multi and like when I'm writing.
I find it like
To
it's like a puzzle to me, man.
Yeah, dude. And
It's like it's
you know
fun.
what's so fascinating is that it's exactly like stand-up comedy in that when you get to the, at least that's the way I look at it.
I
Maybe
do,
that's
yeah,
just because
I
that's what
agree.
my brain is. But like each set of 4 bars is like a premise, a setup, and then your punchline.
And then
Like it's
yeah,
all connected and it's all supposed to kind of hit with that last bit of it. Whether you're doing a callback, you're rhyming to something that you did on the first line, or if you're just like connecting it to the last line and leading it in, it just felt like very similar in structure.
I've always thought that like comedy and hip hop music has a lot in common because it's like especially like battle rap.
Oh,
I find
battle rap
has
is hilarious. Like the
so much to do with comedy, man. It's like you could go up there as a comedian and know nothing about rap. As long as you can rhyme and write like a comedy sketch, you could roast somebody just doing that, man, and have no experience in rap music whatsoever.
yeah.
And yeah, I've always put the two in the same boat, man. I always have. That and magic. I always put magic with it too.
Yeah. And even battle rap has some like improv in there,
It does. It does. Yeah.
like the most impressive guys are the ones who can like look at something in the room and like, do something off of that because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
he clearly couldn't have prepared this.
Exactly. You ever
Like,
heard of Harry Mack?
yes, I love Harry Mack. Harry Mack's
Dude,
great.
that guy's so good, right?
You gotta check out my
Yeah.
buddy 11 too. He's like a crazy improvised rapper. I think he just
11. All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah, I'll send a link over to you because he just
Yeah, send me the
released
link
like
for
a
sure.
whole like special that he put together. Because that style of rapping, like Harry Mack and like 11, where they can improvise off of the spot, like it's hard to like. I can sell myself to somebody being like, I'm a stand-up comedian. That's what I do. When I say that, you know what that means, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for those guys, it's like they're uh, they're like a performer and an improvisation, well, whatever the word is,
Yeah. Yeah.
improv
Yeah. I got you.
expert and like rapper and comedian. Like it's all of these
Yeah. It's
things
all.
all
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
once. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Like going back to like the multi-syllable thing too. Like when I see Harry Mack do stuff, it's like everything you know is off the top of his head because he's going around like what's in the room and whatnot. But everything's so multi-syllable too, and it's like I've never been the greatest
And like
freestyler.
deep references. Like he's got like
Yeah,
good references.
it's like it blows my mind how somebody can do that, man. Like I can freestyle, but if I do, it's very simple. And when
Yeah,
I
I'm
do,
terrible.
I'm trying because when I write multi-syllable rhymes and shit. So when I'm freestyling, I'm trying to think of those multi-syllable rhymes, and it just I get all like tangled in my own head trying to think of it. And then when I watch somebody like Harry Mack or whatever do something like that, it blows my mind. Like I feel like it shouldn't be possible.
Yeah, he's posted like a lot of TikToks too, just explaining even like I guess he does live streams where he just kind of breaks down how he
Yeah,
does everything, and it's so
yeah, I've seen some of that.
fascinating
Yeah,
because like the way and like Evan, his rap name is 11, but like he was trying to teach me like how he does it, and he was just like I can't even say exactly what he said, but all I can say is the way he said it in a rap. Like it, he taught
oh
me
really?
like do you know what I mean? Like he taught me how to improv rap
Yeah.
while rapping. Like he rapped the instructions. I was
Oh,
like,
rapping. Yeah,
but it didn't feel forced. Like
it's
it didn't feel like he was like hitting the same kind of rhyme. It was more of like a tone and a flow. Just put it on a beat
it
and
feels it
spoke it
feels like
out.
something that they're born with.
Yeah, no, it's a gift,
Yeah, it's
man, for
crazy, man.
sure. Like it's an
It's like
openness.
even when you're trying to
It feels like a
yeah, yeah, even
mushroom
when you're
trip.
like when you're trying to explain it, it feels like in your head you're like this shouldn't be possible.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't
It's
even get
crazy,
the words
dude.
out. Like meeting people like that, you're like, it feels like a mushroom trip. Like you feel like they've just
Yeah,
have this flow of consciousness, where they can kind of those tangles. I have exactly what you're talking about. The tangles in your head where you're trying to force the rhyme almost at the end of it, and it's stopping you from just thinking of something better to say instead of just letting that kind
yeah.
of
See,
letting your mouth speak first before you filter it through your head.
yeah, see with me it's like if I'm like trying to freestyle like multi-syllable shit like that, it's like I can do it for maybe like 2 or 3 bars, but then I can't think far enough ahead while I'm still speaking, where it's like other people have that ability to just like, they have this memory bank where they can think 3 bars. It's like playing chess. You know what I mean? It's like they can
Yeah, I
think
was
3 or 4
just
bars
gonna say
ahead
that.
while they're
Yeah.
still talking about the 3 or 4 bars beforehand. And I can't do that, man. I don't have the
I
mind
wonder
capability to do that. Like I
I
get so
wonder if you like
confused.
practice chess, if that
I
would
feel like, I
like,
mean, I feel like that's muscle memory too. The same we were going back to
yeah.
like the BMX and skateboard and shit. And I feel like it's just muscle memory. You just got to train your brain to kind of be able to do that.
It's really repetition. That's the thing. Is like doing any of these things. The reason why they're so good
It
at it is
is.
because they do
Yeah.
it so often and they force themselves into those uncomfortable
Yeah.
positions to the point where to us it feels like godlike. You're like, what the fuck is even happening? But it's like makes sense. They've done
Yeah.
it
That's what I mean. It's like, I
repeatedly
feel it.
for
I'm
10
like, that
years.
shouldn't be possible.
Yeah. Although
Yeah. It's
Harry
fucking,
Mack says
yeah.
too
It's
that
even talking about it blows my mind.
yeah, yeah. The interesting thing with Harry Mack too is he
Yeah.
says that he can't even like it's hard for him to sit down and write a song. Like he does better freestyling because he's focused so much on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find that interesting too. You're like,
Well,
okay,
dude,
like
that guy could freestyle a 16 that would put anything I've ever written to sleep. You know what I mean? Like it's that crazy.
yeah, you're like,
There's
why
one he
would
has where
you
he free.
try
I
to
can't
sit
remember
down?
which. Yeah, there's one that I saw the other day, and I can't remember which radio station he was at, but Soldier Boy's with him at the radio station, and Soldier Boy's just throwing out words to him while he's freestyling, and it just blew my mind, dude. It's just so crazy.
I love those videos too, where they're like in the actual radio station because some people thrive in those environments. Like Lil Dicky's was so good. Did you ever see that one? He had like a great like
Yeah,
freestyle.
dude.
Uh, and then there's some people who just like
I think
fold.
that was
Like,
Sway in the morning.
yeah, yeah, it was Sway. Yeah, that was crazy. But I found out
Yeah,
this is kind of disheartening too. I found out that they everybody like pre-writes their freestyle like
yeah, they
for that
do.
specifically.
But I mean, I would do the same thing. Like if you
You'd want to
for
be
a
prepared,
stand up
yeah.
comic kind of thing, if you knew that you were going on some dude's show as a stand up comic and you knew that you were going to have to tell some jokes, I'm sure that knowing you're going to be on air, you're going to write some shit down. You're not going to try and wing it because then you're going to embarrass the hell out of yourself, fuck it up, try to
Yeah,
wing it, right?
yeah.
So,
But I also wouldn't sell
so
myself as like an improv stand-up comedian. Like everything I'm about to say tonight has never been
that's
said
true.
before. Because
That's true. I
that's
find a
like
lot of the times when I see like freestyle rappers and they'll put out something and they'll label it a freestyle, but then when you listen to it, it's blatantly obvious that it's not freestyled because like nobody could freestyle that type of shit. And you
yeah,
know that it's
yeah.
like a pre-written that they had, but they still label it a freestyle. I'm like, bro, just tell it how it is. That's not you didn't freestyle and it's obvious you didn't freestyle that.
You're like quit the capping, man. Hey everybody, Johnny here. Just want to take a quick second to thank our newest Patreon subscriber, CLB. I appreciate your support, and because you are subscribed to the show for just $1 a month, you're getting this episode before anyone else. If you want to be cool like CLB, head to patreon.com/the Johnny Rogers and join in on the fun. All right, now back to the episode.
Exactly. Yo, let's talk Undeniably Dope.
Oh yeah. Do you have a listen to it?
How's that how'd that come together? Why did you decide to start making music, man?
I've always had an interest in music. So like for so long I've been obsessed with just big musicians, right? Like watching, like I remember my uncle giving me Ozzy Osbourne and watching like the Ozfest
Right.
concerts, and then like I remember my cousins giving me like blank CDs with like Tupac on it and like Biggie and all of these like just crazy songs where I always thought like, wow, that would be so cool to be able to do that. But again, it felt out of reach. And then it always felt like there was these people I'd met in my life or like little signifiers giving me
Right.
like tidbits of information of like how it would come together. And I always knew that there would be like a right time where I would like actually try to tackle it. And then when the pandemic hit, it was just like, well, stand-up comedy clubs are closed. Everyone's
Yeah.
telling us to stay inside. Okay, well, why don't I try it? So I started like looking up beats and just listening to beats. And then I would like watch just videos on YouTube, just like constant tutorials of like how to write a song and like what's the best way to like structure it, and what like audio
Right.
editing program should you use, and just like completely, I have like a notebook still of just like all these
That's
notes that I
dope.
took.
That's dope.
And then finally I like started trying to write lyrics, and there was this really interesting thing that was happening where I would be listening to a beat and I could like mutter nothing. Like I would literally be like saying nonsense, like muttering stuff under my breath, not actual words, just
But
trying to
but
like,
learning how to flow kind of while mumbling.
yeah, kind of mumbling to the beat. And then in my head just started like throwing me words. Like
Nice,
it
nice.
was the weirdest thing to
I get it.
experience.
I
And then
get it.
it became like so addicting after that, to be like, okay, what is this song gonna say to me this time?
Right?
Like,
Yeah, it
and
is super addicting once you start writing and like you start getting like a story or some kind of flow or whatnot, and then you just like it is, you just keep going, and before you know it, you've
yeah,
been writing for like 3 hours.
you come up with like one line and then you just try to structure an entire
Yeah.
like
That's
song
like I said,
around.
that's like I said, to me, it's like a puzzle. There's sometimes when I'm writing that I'll literally write one word that's like 4 syllables, and then I will just write a list of probably like 30 different words that rhyme multi-syllables with that one word. And
Hmm,
then I'll put like the sentences in front of them to have it make sense.
that's a
And it's
good way
just,
to do it.
yeah, it gets so super addictive.
Yeah, the puzzling of like, okay, well, what would be better if I did, like, there's been some songs where I was like, this is for sure the layout, and then I run it through and I was like, let me
You'll flip this line up
flip
here and this
stuff
line down here.
completely, move
Yeah,
these
dude.
4 bars to the start, flip this one completely
Yeah.
around. It's a whole
I
new
do that.
song.
I do that all the time. There's a lot of times that I'll just write 2 bars, and then like I'll like read those 2 bars to myself. I'm like, no, no, no. If I put this one before this one, then the punchline sounds so much better with the bar that I wrote first if I put it second. Yeah, I do that a lot, dude.
Yeah, it's so addicting just moving
It
that
is,
shit
man.
around.
It is.
And then like with before I arrived at this one, I had, so because it was so addicting and like I was fully committing to not caring what anyone was going to think of
Hmm.
like the quality of it, of what the material was. I had to completely remove that from my head of caring about what anyone was going to say, and say like, okay, I'm going to start releasing these songs for myself, so
That's what you
that
need to do,
I,
man.
yeah, just so that I
Yeah.
could listen to it for myself, right? And I shared it around too, being like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. Check it
Yep.
out. But mainly so that I could just get past that feeling of like, oh, like what are people gonna think about this? What
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
people gonna say
Exactly.
about this?
Exactly. But it's
I
kind of
got
like if
past
you,
that.
as long as you're if you put it out, it's usually like when you record stuff, it's like, do I like it? Do I not like it? But then
Yeah.
once you put it out, you can kind of get some feedback, and you can listen to it after you put it out. And then you can be like, all right, maybe I needed to change here. Maybe it is good.
Yeah.
Maybe
That
this is
dude,
what
that
I need to
happens so
fix.
many
That
times. Luckily,
that Please Don't
SoundCloud lets
Call
you
song,
update.
that hook, dude. I like when I first heard that hook, dude, I was like walking around work for like 2 days just singing that hook. It was catchy, dude. It was catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
liked
so
it. I liked it. It's
it's
good.
mainly just, that was like from a hat that I had bought.
Really?
I had a hat that says "Please don't call" on it,
Yeah, it
and
was
I
good.
was
I liked it. I
sitting
liked
there
it.
writing, and I looked over and saw the hat, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny." Like, please
Nice,
don't
nice.
call. I was like, "Yeah, let me write a song around that."
That's dope. That's dope.
But because I got so addicted with it and didn't give a shit what anyone was gonna say, was releasing a song every day, and it was like clockwork. Like I would work on it like crazy after I was done work. I would often like do the lyrics in one take, like the whole
Hmm.
16, whatever it is, just do it all with the chorus in it, slight tweaks, throw that shit out on SoundCloud. Boom, here's another
Yeah.
one. Next day, here's another one. And then I finally had like 35 minutes worth of stuff that's still on SoundCloud. If anyone wants to listen to it, it's called Crown the Clown. And that was the
What's it
first
called?
half, Crown the Clown.
All right. All right. Yeah.
And then it's like darker. It's way different than Undeniably Dope, which I
I don't
like.
think I've heard that. I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah, again, another link I'll have to send you.
Yeah. Yeah. Link me that for sure.
It's gonna be a link heavy episode. Um, but then after that, I made like 10 more songs. Like I just kept making it, and I kind of packaged them off and separately from that one. And
Right.
then I really wanted to put out the album on Spotify and Apple, and that was always the intention. But the problem was like locking down the rights to all of the beats before I did that.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's expensive, right? Like I was trying to buy each of the beats because you don't want to buy the worst thing. And I know so many people who made this mistake is they like a beat the first time they hear it, so they buy it, thinking, "Oh,
Hmm.
I'm for sure going to be able to write a song to this," and then they get nothing from it. Like
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
try and
That
try and
that's happened to me.
try.
That's happened to me so many times, dude. You'll get a beat and you're like, this is fire. And then after like 3 or 4 days of writing to it,
You're like,
eventually
I'm
in your head,
so
you're just
sick of
like,
this.
this is not fire. This is not
Yeah.
sick. But now you feel obligated to like do something with it.
Yeah.
And then
So
eventually it just ends up in the trash can.
I waited. And then eventually I was like, when would be a good time to release this? And I was like, actually, I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking, oh, 420 is coming up. And I was like, oh, yeah, I should like, I remember I had an album like name. I have like a list of names, like an
Mhm.
album, possible album titles, and it's both for like comedy specials or whatever else I want to produce. Right?
Yeah.
They just are just titles that to me sound good. Um, and I had Undeniably Dope in the list that I was like, oh yeah, that's a good one. And then I was like, oh, 420 is coming up. I was like, wouldn't it be hilarious to have this done and ready and out on 420 at 420? I was
Yeah, it
like,
was
yeah, I
good. It
got,
was
I was like, I got, I was like, I got to do that. So
yeah,
I
I
just
liked
got my
it,
ass
man.
together and put it out.
Yeah, I liked it. I like the album cover too. You did a good job. It reminds me of like an old school kind of like album cover. You know what I mean? And you
Yeah,
pressed hard copies and shit too, eh?
yeah, just this like that's the only hard copy in existence is this
Oh,
like
really?
record that I got made. Yeah. I just like
Yeah, you
had
got.
it made by this company because I was like I have this record wall, so I was like it'd be so sick to actually
Well,
have.
yeah, you got to have one for yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's the only one.
Yeah, that's sick. That's dope. Are you gonna make
Maybe
another one?
someday. Maybe it's an expensive and long process. So it
It
would
really
have to
is. It
be
really
like
is.
somebody would have to be super crazy. Maybe I'll set up like a Patreon. Like if you get a certain Patreon tier, it'll get you a record. You know what I mean?
That'd
Like
be
it's
sick. That'd be
enough.
sick.
It's enough for me to at least get them the record, but then they stay on the tier.
Yeah, that'd be
It'd
sick.
be,
That'd be sick.
be a
Yeah,
good
it's a
move.
long process though, man. It's like
It takes a
at
couple months
least,
to get that process. Like,
yeah, at least, and then like to get a whole album together and get out, man. It's like if you're gonna put out something of quality, it's gonna take you over a year to do it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, that was like I said, like 2 years in the making, pretty much,
Yeah,
and
it's a
just
long
like
time, man. It's a long
working
process.
on the songs.
A lot of people don't understand that either. A lot of people think that like musicians just get in like a writing mode and like get inside a studio and in like a month they can just put out this like 15 track album and it's like no, that's
Mm-mm.
shit's probably been in the works for like 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
A
And like
lot of
that's why
work that goes
so
behind it.
many artists have like Logic especially is really smart with this. He has like albums that are just banked that are just like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
already he had the time and the inspiration and the resources and he just made the album and set it off to the side because maybe like prior agreements with like Def Jam or whatever he
yeah,
couldn't
exactly. Yeah,
release it
yeah,
because of whatever. But now once he goes independent, like the guy's probably gonna just randomly drop two new albums that he's had
yeah.
for
I was
five
saying,
years, you know?
I was gonna say like his last album or the one before that he put out, and he said that he just like, I'm pretty sure I saw an interview. He's like, I just threw it together of like old scrap shit. He's like, just so I could get off my Def Jam label, like his
Dude,
his
it's
contract. He's like,
not even
I just want to
bad.
get out of that contract so that I can do my own independent thing. So he just threw a bunch of random shit on there just to get out of his contract.
I don't blame him, man. It's called Vinyl Days, I believe.
Yeah, Vinyl Days.
Yeah, Vinyl Days. I listened to that front to back like a couple times, and I was like, it's not a bad album. Like
No, it's
it's
not bad, but it's like I feel like when I listen to Logic, I'm like, I can feel like you just kind of threw it together so you could get the hell out of that contract so you could do
yeah,
whatever
like
you
some of
wanted
the
to do.
bars are so funny where he's just like trashing people that he's worked with and then
Yes.
thanking other people and like
Yeah, I know
saying
it's so
fuck you
good.
to Def Jam. I was
Yeah.
like, man, this is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I feel there's other artists I've like heard like their last album on their contract, and you can tell by some of the lyrics in it that they'd like throw little subtle sneak disses at like
Oh
the
yeah,
company that they
yeah.
were contracted to just to like kind of throw a little jab in there before they got out. Yeah, it's funny. That's good stuff.
So it's that's good stuff. Speaking of like disses, this wasn't a sneak at all, but did you catch the Black Slim Shady?
Oh, good God, bro.
That 10-minute
It was so bad,
Eminem
right?
diss track? No, dude,
It's so,
it wasn't bad. Like
you
I
didn't
was
think it was
actually
bad?
like I didn't think it
I
was
didn't.
bad. I thought it was
I thought
long.
it
I thought it
had
was
some.
really long, but like And I thought it was funny that he was like simultaneously being like, "Your music sucks. I'll never play it in my car," and then he's also giving like
And then he's also giving you
insanely
references of like
accurate
all.
references from
Yeah,
songs that are like recent too, that are not like
I
too
know.
far
I
back.
I feel like just me being like I'm a game fan. I like the game, man.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the top tier MCs. But I feel like I was expecting something like fire coming after M. And when I heard it, I was like, it could have been so much better. It was more like comedy, I guess, to me.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah. It was
he was trying to
very
like
funny
mimic
song.
like trying to mimic Eminem's flow and using like the whole stand thing in the Uber and
Yeah, that was a
whatnot.
great sketch just in the
That's what I mean.
song
I thought it
itself.
had potential. I feel like it missed the mark. And I sat with a buddy talking about this and I was like, did he make it like subpar to kind of bait Eminem into a
Could be.
response and then after he gets a response, then he can go harder at him
Yeah, because you
kind
don't
of
want to
thing. But
sell all of it, right? Like if he
exactly,
has some
exactly, exactly.
really good, let's say he sits down one night and he writes like 30 Eminem roast jokes. He's not just gonna give the best ones on the first
Exactly,
song.
exactly, exactly. You're
Yeah.
hoping for a response, you know what I mean? And like a lot of people don't think he'll respond, but I think he will in time.
I think MGK wasn't prepared for the response.
I
That's
feel like
what
MGK. I feel like I might be in like the minority in this, but I feel like Machine Gun Kelly's Eminem diss is the best anybody's ever done. I thought it was.
I'll give
I
you
thought it was.
that. The
I thought it
best
was
anyone's
lit. I
ever
thought it was
done.
fire.
But
And like the best Eminem diss that anybody's ever done. I thought it was so sick, dude.
yeah, like it was great until Eminem wrapped him into a new genre.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. Like
like,
M came for his throat afterwards, but I feel like if you listen to
and
other
I
people diss
don't
him,
think he was ready for that. He needs to be like a marker. Like, if you want to come after Eminem, don't sell your best shit right away, just in
no, yeah,
case he
no,
decides he
yeah.
wants to rip you apart.
And then there's an interview I saw. I think it was on the Breakfast Club where they asked MGK, they're like, "Did you have a response?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got one ready to go." He's like, "But Eminem's response wasn't good enough to warrant it." I'm like, "No, you didn't have
Yeah, that
nothing
means
ready
you
to
don't
go."
have anything.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you wasted it all at the start. What was the one bar MGK had? I thought was really good when he was like, "You're trying to be the old you so bad that you stand yourself."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was like, that was fire. That was good. Yeah, that was sick. It was good. I
I
like
do
MGK, man. I'm an
still
MGK
love
fan.
Eminem's line of he's like, "You're the whack me." He's like, "I'd rather be
I'd rather
80 year
be
old
what
me
80 year
than
old me
20
than
year old
20-year-old
you."
you. Yeah,
I just
yeah,
was
that was
like,
pretty good. Yeah, yeah. He put him in
uh,
his place for sure.
there's so many like put you in your place moments, like Go Play with Lil Tay. I was just like, God damn,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for
But what
being
was the?
someone that they
I
consider
feel
like a
like
boomer rapper, he's got like
yeah.
really recent references,
I feel
Like I
like
feel like
though,
he's still in it.
I feel like low key though. I think the best thing to ever happen to Machine Gun Kelly was that Eminem thing, because I mean, like maybe if Eminem put him in a different genre, which I'm kind of on the line about, because like I've been an MGK fan since MGK like first started, and he was into like that punk rock shit,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when he was
yeah.
younger. So like he's always been into that shit. But after the Eminem thing, when he went hard into the punk rock, he had two number 1 Billboard albums. So it's like maybe the best thing that ever happened to him was the Eminem thing,
Yeah.
because I mean he's bigger now than he ever has been after
Well, I
ever
mean,
since he
Christ,
switched to that punk
his
rock shit.
fiance is Megan Fox, and he's got
Oh
like
yeah, I mean come on, dude's bagging Megan
ins
Fox, come on.
like yeah, who won? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
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 Eminem had the better words. Okay, you know,
that
like
was the one Eminem thing. He's like, you dress better, I rap better.
yeah, yeah. A love letter.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah,
You little white toothpick. It was so.
that was so good. Yeah,
It was so funny when he was just like he was ripping on the man bun the whole time too, and then MGK is like, I don't even have that anymore. Like
dude, that
what?
was for a movie.
He was all crusty like in the interview too.
Yeah, he got all sad. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But that's so smart of him too to I guess partner up, you could say, with like Travis Barker and produce
Yeah, dude.
that kind
Yeah,
of Blink 182 style. Like that to me is a real signifier of somebody who knows like what kids now are wanting to listen to again. Like he almost nobody else was producing like a kind of pop punk like style album like that because
no,
most
yeah,
people
for
thought
sure.
that that was like, oh, that's the old stuff. We don't really listen to that anymore. It's this now.
That's true. I mean, I guess like MGK kind of brought back that old sound,
You see it a
and like
lot
Travis
now.
and like Travis Barker clearly had a lot to do with that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like without Travis, I don't think Machine Gun Kelly could have sold what he did without Travis.
No, you need that kind of like staple, that familiarity. It's like
Yeah,
in
and
wrestling when they
that
partner
vision
like
too.
yeah. But I was gonna say it's like in wrestling when they partner like a new guy with like a legend to
Yeah,
just like kind of lift him up a little bit, make him look like he's the shit now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, bro, I haven't watched wrestling in fucking years, dude. It's so long
I,
since
I
I watched
fade I
wrestling.
fade in and out on it. I went to a live show recently in Ottawa and it was the greatest
Yeah, I
thing
felt it.
ever. Oh, I think you're cutting a bit there.
Yeah, I fell into that like years ago. I was a huge like Jeff Hardy fan. Like back when like wrestling was like extreme. Like I used to watch that like religiously.
Jeff Hardy's doing it again. He's like 50-year-old man and he's doing front flips off of
Like hurting so much.
giant. Oh man, I can't even imagine the pain that guy must be going through on the
Yeah,
regular.
I remember when I was like a little kid, like me and Patrick, I used to like lay Patrick down on the like something outside and just like swanton bomb my own brother through shit and
Yeah, dude, I
everything.
did the same thing with my little brother.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Yeah, we used to do
I didn't
stupid
even
shit.
did I
You
even
know?
mention that? I don't even think I mentioned that the whole episode. If you're a fan of the Johnny Rogers show and you remember episodes with Phatriik, he's also part of the Four Northmen when we do those podcasts. This is Patrick's older brother, Jerry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My little bro. I haven't seen him in a bit, man. I haven't seen him in a minute. Probably since shit. Christmas, maybe? Last
Damn,
year?
settling into a new place too. It's like yeah, he's living.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I
I
gotta
want
get
to
up to
check it
Toronto and
out.
visit him, man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Patrick,
no,
you're watching, love you, bro.
I've been saying that too. I'm like, I need to book some shows up there because that way I can get like paid to come. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, if I can go and get some money and do some shows, like yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
of
come hang
course.
out.
Yeah, of course, of course.
It's
Has he got
always my
a two
motivation to
bedroom up there
travel.
now?
I think so. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
get
think he
the
did. I think I heard
specifics
he
from
did.
him.
Yeah. What do you got coming up for
Yeah.
comedy shows? You got anything popping?
Right now I don't have anything going on. I'm gonna be going to Montreal in October, so I'm gonna probably try to get some shows at like the Comedy Nest or something out that way. If you're a Montreal comedian listening to this right now, hit me up. I can do
Hit
some
him up.
shows.
Hit him up. Yeah, let me know if
Oh, I think you're cutting there.
you ever got anything like going on in the area or anything like that.
Yeah, because you're in
Are we good?
Kingston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know of one comedy producer in Kingston. I don't know if the Absolute Comedy has reopened or not. That's usually the place that I play at.
I didn't
I
know they
know,
closed.
yeah, they closed for a little bit just because of COVID. They kept having to close and reopen and
Oh
close
yeah,
and
yeah.
reopen. Like, just, I don't know if it was like making enough money because maybe people in the area are just still a little too like fearful to come out. Um, But as far as I know, I heard that it was like starting to reopen. So yeah, I'll hit you up if I'm like coming through
Yeah,
Kingston.
let me know for sure. Yeah, COVID fucked a lot of shit up, man. A lot of businesses and
Dude,
everything. Terrible.
unreal the way people had to like kind of just pivot all of a sudden and
It
nobody
was,
had
man.
any
It's crazy.
information.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I always ask my guests this question, so I want to like turn this question over to you. I just
Go
keep like a
ahead.
theme going here too. If
Giver.
you could, if you had an opportunity to get on a phone call with 15-year-old Jerry and give him a piece of advice, knowing that it doesn't affect your universe whatsoever, parallel universe, but it's you at 15, what do
Damn.
you
All right.
tell
That's a good question. Don't do drugs.
him?
um, care about your credit history. Don't do drugs, and be a good human being, man.
Yeah, that's some good life advice.
That's it. Yeah, it took me a long time to learn those fucking words of advice, man.
Over here,
Um,
man. If there's somebody young
yeah, that's pretty much
watching,
it.
that's what it's
I probably
for.
slapped myself upside the head a few times and just tell
Just through
myself
the
to be
phone,
a
you're just like, just give yourself a smack in the head.
yeah, exactly. Just I don't know, just yeah, just tell myself to be a decent human being to people, man. Not that I wasn't when I was growing up, like I was,
Yeah, but that's
did, but
just the advice.
but I feel like I feel like any person, if you tell them what would you tell your 15-year-old self, it'd just be better. You know what I mean? I feel like
Mm,
even if you're the best person at 15 years old, you're still gonna want to be better
yeah, like
older,
always
man.
keep learning, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I feel like younger people, you do shit without thinking about it, and then down
Yeah.
the road, it's like, yeah, that was kind of dumb.
It's a lot of impulse action. Like I feel this in this moment, I want to do it, instead of
Exactly,
thinking those
exactly.
three
You
steps
don't think
ahead.
about you don't think about the consequences, and then years down
Yeah.
the road, you're
You
like,
gotta get
oh
it.
shit, that really did. Like I remember like my family when I was growing up, they'd always tell me like your credit history matters. You know what I mean? Like that matters. But like when I was younger, I didn't know that. Like my first credit card I got, I blew that shit in like 12 hours. And
Yeah.
like down the line on the road, people were like, yo, you can't get a car, you can't do this because you have bad credit. So it's like, yeah, like that's probably the biggest thing that I would tell myself is like take care of your finances. Cause like that's a big thing. Like I would if I ever have kids, that's what I'd teach my kids too. Like take care of your finances. That's probably the biggest thing, man.
Yeah, because that's the driver that lets you do everything, right?
It
Like
is, man. It's like
as
it
long as
really, really
that's the
is,
way
man.
it exists, then that's the way you got to do. Yeah.
It is. You want a house, you want a car, you want a loan, you want anything. It's like you need to have that credit. So it's like I guess that's my answer to the question. Take care of your finances. Take care of your
Have good
finances.
credit.
Yeah, have good
Be
credit, man.
responsible with your credit.
Take care of your finances. Be responsible. Don't do what I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Do as I say, not as I did.
Yeah, yeah. Not as I did would be the case. That's so
Exactly,
funny.
exactly.
And the other side of
What would
this
you tell
question,
yourself?
oh, what would I tell myself at
Yeah,
50?
yeah. I want to know what you tell yourself.
I would just say like stop caring what other people think.
Hey, that's a good one too. That's a good one.
Like just don't
No,
don't
I feel
think
like that's a
about
good
it
one
for a
because I feel like a
second.
lot of people growing up, you're always trying to impress people.
Yeah.
You got to have the nicest
Stop
clothes.
impressing people. Yeah. Doesn't
Yeah, you need the
matter.
nicest clothes, the nicest attitude. High school, you got to have the nicest car, kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah,
dude,
it's all these
yeah,
stupid
that's a good one.
pressures that mean nothing, right?
It
Like
is, man. Yeah, that's a good one.
you get later in life and you realize you're like, oh, I cared about all that stuff for nothing. Like this seems so
And it
foolish.
and it doesn't mean like it's half the people that you were trying to show off to back. You don't even know them anymore.
No, they're not even a part of
Exactly,
your inner circle
exactly,
whatsoever.
exactly.
So it's like
For sure,
doesn't matter.
for sure.
The world's a lot bigger than you think also.
Yes, much, much bigger. Yeah, and
Um
surround yourself with good people too.
yeah. Yeah, and
Because like, you
totally.
are a product of your environment. I'm a very strong believer in that.
Oh, 100%,
And it's
dude.
like it took me a long time to learn that too. Like hanging out with the wrong crowd, and then you get in with the right crowd, and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm a better person now
You hear that
without
too,
those
like your
influences.
parents tell you that, like I don't want you hanging out with that person, or like you should try hanging out with so and so. It's like they're secretly trying to like push you in that direction that like the people you
And
hang
you don't
around
get it.
with, yeah, you don't get it. You're just like they're cool. I just want to,
Yeah.
you have
But then
different motivations.
years down the road, you're like, oh, maybe they weren't that cool. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. You're like I don't know if we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, for sure. That's a
Um,
good question. I like that question.
Thanks, man. And the other side of that question too is because the internet is this like weird place where all of this content kind of just stays on here forever. At least that's what I'm hoping with this
The
next
internet
question.
is the devil.
It's just this like memory bank in the cloud where this
That's true.
episode
Yeah,
is going
yeah.
to exist until YouTube goes out of business. But if YouTube is still in business and Jerry, you are now 50 years old, looking up this episode to see your younger self, uh, would you leave yourself a message for 50-year-old Jerry looking at this video?
Uh, don't do drugs.
I need to say the same thing.
No,
It's so funny.
I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's hard. What would I leave myself a message?
It's like a time capsule.
Just do better, man. I don't know. It'd be the same message, probably. I think. I think if you asked me when I was 50 years old, what I would tell myself at my age now, it'd probably be the same thing. Just do better. Wake up every day to do better than you were the day before, man. And
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that a lot recently. Is just be a better person than you were the day before. You know what I mean? Because I spent a lot of years growing up just messing my life up, kind of thing. And like I had a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong; it was great. I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't change a lot of it. Some of it I would, but a lot of it I wouldn't change because I had a lot of fun growing up. But yeah, that's probably what I just tell myself. Just do better. Slow down maybe a little bit. Have
I
some
love it.
fun, but slow down a little bit.
Yeah. Have some
Yeah,
fun, but take her easy.
exactly, exactly.
I'm gonna share your socials so people know where to find you. You can get him on Instagram at jibbin_Jerry. Links is
Yes.
always in the description below. Thanks so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you making the time. I know we had to like some scheduling issues at first, but we're here. We did it. And now I'm having internet connection issues as well. You're just like frozen in place. Jerry, are you with me?
Sir.
Okay, there you are.
Yo. Yes, sir. Hey, there we are.
It was all lagging and everything. Do you have any parting words for the people?
Johnny, thanks for having me. Everybody, be good people. Be good to your neighbors. Stay out of shit. Take care of your credit history. Be good to your pets. And follow me on Instagram.
There we go. Jerry Perrin, everyone. Man, I hope you have a great rest of your night. And
You
to
too,
everybody
Johnny.
else, peace out.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, man. Have a good night.
See you, buddy.
Later. You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.